Men traveled from distant villages just to see one person. Hello, you are welcome to Tales by Grandma. Please don't forget to share and subscribe to this channel. Let's dive into the story. The village of Orile was not the richest village in the kingdom, but it was known for one thing: beauty. And among all the women born in Orile, none could compare to Ochomma. People said when Ochomma walked, birds stopped singing. At only 22 years, Ochomma had become the pride of Orile. Men, wealthy men, traveled from distant villages just to see her face. Some came pretending to buy palm oil at the market. Others claimed they were visiting relatives. But everybody knew the truth. They came for Ochomma. Every day, after bathing with scented black soap and rubbing coconut oil on her skin, Ochomma would stand before the mirror in her room. It was a tall mirror, given to her mother years ago by a traveling merchant. Ochomma loved mirror a lot. She could spend hours staring at herself. She admired the curve of her neck, the smoothness of her cheek, the softness of her long dark hair. Sometimes she would smile at herself and whisper, "No woman in Orile can ever look like me. Feel the beauty, feel the body." Her mother, Nne, often warned her, "Beauty fades, my daughter. A good heart lasts longer." But Ochomma would laugh carelessly. That may be the truth for ordinary people. That may be the truth for ordinary people, Mama. But my beauty is different. Nne would sigh deeply. She feared pride the way farmers fear drought. Ochomma walked through the market wearing a bright yellow wrapper and coral beads around her waist every afternoon. The market immediately became restless. Men abandoned conversation. Young boys stared openly. Women frowned with jealousy. See her. Every time she be walking through the market path just for admiration. Don't mind her. Among the crowd stood three men who admire Ochomma more than anything. Ifeanyi, the wealthy palm wine tapper. Michael, the hunter who Moscow-made village girls whisper. And Edward, the school teacher from the next village. Each man dreamed of marrying her. Each believed he deserved her. But Ochomma enjoyed attention a lot to choose anyone. She always rejected men. Sometimes she laughed openly at them. Ifeanyi visited her father's compound carrying gifts, yam, fish, bottle of oil and expensive clothes. Her father welcomed him warmly, but Ochomma looked at him with disgust. "You are too fat. You need to go watch your weight." Ifeanyi felt ashamed. "You may leave." Ifeanyi walked away in shame, while servants quietly gathered the gifts he had brought. A week later, Michael approached her near the river. "I love you, Ochomma. I can't sleep without you. You are always on my head," he confessed. "I want to spend my life with you. Nwanyị ọma, bikonu, kwetenum, I love you." Ochomma looked him up and down before laughing. "You smell like the forest. Do you expect someone like me to marry a hunter?" Michael, me, Ochomma, marry you." Michael's heart broke immediately. Soon the entire village began speaking about Ochomma's pride. "She is too proud. Beauty has entered her head. She treats people like insects." But Ochomma did not care. Those words never bothered her. The more people talk, the more she admired herself. She would stand before the mirror every night, smiling endlessly. Sometimes she would imagine herself becoming queen someday. Sometimes she imagined all the women in the kingdom kneeling before her beauty. That same night, an old woman appeared at Ochomma's compound. She wore tall clothes and leaned heavily on a crooked walking stick. Nne quickly invited her inside. "Please sit," she said kindly. But Ochomma frowned immediately. The old woman smelled of wet earth and smoke. "Keep her away from me," Ochomma complained. "She stinks a lot." "What's that smell?" The old woman lifted her tired eyes towards Ochomma. "My child," she said, "please give me water." Ochomma stepped backward in irritation. "Me, Ochomma, give you water? Never." "There is water outside. Drink the rain," she said. Nne became embarrassed. "Ochomma, stop!" But Ochomma continued harshly. "You people should stop bringing dirty strangers into this house. They stink everywhere." The old woman stared at Ochomma for a long moment. Her eyes suddenly became too sharp for an ordinary old woman. Then she spoke. "The face you worship shall become your greatest sorrow." Nne felt fear crawl through her body, but Ochomma laughed mockingly. "Old winch, go outside and die. Leave our hut." The woman slowly stood. "When your beauty disappears, you will understand the pain of those you have mocked openly, and the pain they went through because of the mockery." Then she left. That night, Ochamma slept peacefully. She never imagined her life had already begun to change. But inside Ochomma's room, something far more frightening has begun. She woke up one morning feeling unusually weak. Her body felt heavy as though invisible stone has been tied to her bones during the night. Slowly, she walked towards her mirror. At first, nothing seemed wrong. Then she noticed it. A small dark patch beneath her left eye. Ochomma frowned immediately. "What is this?" She touched it carefully. The skin felt rough, very rough. Fear brushed her heart lightly, but she quickly ignored it. It is probably because of the dust and because of that stinking old woman. She rubbed palm oil on her face and stepped outside. But throughout that day, she noticed strange looks from people. Women stayed longer than usual. Young girls whispered behind her back. Even the men who usually greeted her excitedly seemed uncertain. By evening, another patch appeared beside her mouth, then another on her forehead. Panic slowly entered her heart. For the next several days, Ochomma locked herself inside her room, trying every herb she knew. She bathed with bitter leaf, drank scent leaf. She rubbed expensive oils on her face. She prayed endlessly, but nothing worked. Her once smooth skin became rough and uneven. Darkness spread across her cheek. Her eyes began losing their brightness. At night, she was unable to bear the fear anymore. Ochomma stood trembling before her mirror, holding a lantern. The room was silent except for the sound of the crickets outside. She lifted the lantern closer to her face. Then suddenly, she screamed. A louder scream that woke all the neighbors. The reflection staring back at her was no longer human. It was a monster. The face looked twisted and horrifying. The skin appeared rotten. The eyes were sucking deep into darkness. The mouth stretched unnaturally wide. Ochomma dropped the lantern instantly. "No, no, 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 this can't be me. This cannot be my face. Me, Ochomma, looking like a monster. No, 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 what happened to me?" She stumbled. When she looked again, her normal reflection returned. Sweat covered her body. Her knees trembled violently. That night, she did not sleep. And from that moment onward, every time Ochomma looked into the mirror alone, she saw the monster again. News spread through Olile very quick. The most beautiful woman in the village was changing. At first, people pitied her, but soon, pity became fear. Ochomma stopped attending gatherings. She stopped going to the market. She avoided visitors. Still, rumor traveled around the village. She has been cursed. The gods are punishing her pride. She mocked too many people. Few months passed, and her beauty faded completely. The same men who once fought over her now look away whenever she appeared. Ochomma gathered courage to attend the New Yam festival. The smell of roasted meat and palm oil filled the air. Ochomma dressed carefully that day. She wore her finest blue wrapper and covered part of her face with a veil. Deep inside, she hoped people would still accept her. But the moment she arrived, silence slowly spread. People stared at her. People whispered behind her. Then Obinna saw her. Once, Obinna had loved Ochomma deeply. He had once spent entire nights dreaming about marrying her, but now fear entered his eyes. Ochomma, is this you? Another man stepped backward. She looks terrifying. People began moving away from her. Others hurried off in fear. Then Obinna himself turned and ran. Soon, other men followed. Ochomma stood in the middle of the festival ground, while other crowds scattered from her presence. Her chest tightening painfully. Tears burned from her eyes. Tears burned her eyes. For the first time in her life, Ochomma understood what it means to be lonely. Real loneliness. She ran home crying uncontrollably. That night, she stood before the mirror again. The monster stared back, smiling wickedly. Then suddenly he spoke. You mock broken hearts. Now you feel your own. Ochomma collapsed screaming. Days became dark for Ochomma's family. The once lively compound turned silent. No more visitors, no more suitors arriving carrying gifts. The laughter that once filled the house disappeared. Even her father struggled to heal the sadness. Her mother, Nne, suffered the most. Every night she heard her daughter crying inside the room. Every morning she saw new pain in Ochomma's eyes. One cool evening, Nne entered Ochomma's room carrying food. Ochomma sat near the window staring at the empty road outside. Villagers passed occasionally, but nobody looked towards the compound. Nne sat beside her gently. My daughter, Ochomma's voice broke instantly. Mama, am I truly ugly? Nne's eyes filled with tears. No child is ugly, but people fear me. Nne held her. You are suffering because pride blinded you. Ochomma lowered her head. I hurt many people. Then Nne finally spoke to her. The old woman who came here that rainy night, I believe she was no ordinary woman. Fear crawled through Ochomma. Immediately she remembered. What if this curse never leaves me? Nne had no answer. Ochomma left the compound secretly. She covered her face carefully and walked towards the river where few people visited at sunset. Ochomma sat at the last tree near the water and stared silently into the river. For the first time she felt peace. Then a voice interrupted her thoughts. You always come here alone. Startled, Ochomma turned quickly. A young man stood nearby holding fishing nets. He looked calm and gentle. His name was Samuel. I did not mean to frighten you, he said. Ochomma covered her face immediately. You should leave before you see me properly. No, you don't need to do that. Samuel remained where he was. I already know who you are. Then why are you still standing there? Samuel smiled. Because I do not see a monster. Nobody has spoken kindly to her in months. People run from me, she whispered painfully. People fear appearance, Samuel replied. But pain changes people. For a long moment, Ochomma remained calm. Then slowly, she began talking. That evening, they spoke until darkness covered the river completely. And for the first time since the curse began, Ochomma laughed softly. Samuel met Ochomma by the river. Unlike other men, he never spoke about her appearance. Instead, he asked about her dreams, her childhood, her fear. Slowly, Ochomma began changing inside. She apologized to people she had once insulted. Ochomma met Ifeanyi, the wealthy trader she had humiliated years earlier. She lowered her eyes sadly. I treated you wrong. Please forgive me. Ifeanyi looked surprised. Then he said, I forgive you. The apology lifted a heavy burden from her heart. Little by little, peace began returning to her. But the mirror still haunted her. Every night the monster remained there waiting. Samuel finally asked her, what do you truly see in that mirror? Ochomma's eyes filled with tears. My punishment. Punishment? No, you see the ugliness pride created inside you. Those words settled deeply within her spirit. Ochomma stood before the mirror again that night. Fear gripped her body. The monster appeared immediately, but this time she did not scream. Instead, tears rolled down her cheek. I am sorry, she said. The reflection stared silently. I hurt people because I believe beauty made me greater than them. The monster expression slowly changed. I forgot kindness. Then slowly, very slowly, the monster face began fading. For the first time in many, many months, she saw traces of her real face returning. Ochomma smiled. It's not the old flawless beauty, but something greater than that. I wronged many people first. Obinna looked at her thoughtfully. You are different now. Yes, she replied. Pain taught me what beauty never could. That same evening, Samuel visited her family compound. This time, he came officially, with gifts, with honor, with love. Her parents welcomed him warmly, unlike the other men who once desired Ochomma only for her beauty. Samuel loved the woman she had become. And as Ochomma sat beside her husband, she realized something powerful. The curse had not destroyed her life, it had saved her soul. The old mirror still stood where it had always been. She walked towards it slowly. For a moment, fear returned. Then she looked carefully. No monster stared back, only a woman shaped by pain. Behind her, Samuel wrapped his arms gently around her waist. You are beautiful, he whispered. Ochomma smiled peacefully. Not the proud smile of the old Ochomma, but the calm smile of a woman finally free. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye. Don't forget to turn on the notification button for more interesting story.